Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a very special end of 2024 holiday edition of Cruise Chat for Canadians. I am your host, Matt Houpy. With me tonight, we have Tina, we have Luke, we have Linda. We're all in our festive best. I'm sure Luke has got something holiday on there. But we are here tonight to be able to share with you one final edition of Cruise Chat for Canadians. And what better time to talk about the holidays than right before them. So we are going to be talking about holiday cruises this evening. So we thank you for joining us on this final episode of 2024. That's right, we'll be taking a 2-week hiatus so that we can enjoy the holidays ourselves and for you to relax at home with your loved ones and enjoy the holidays and maybe even be on a holiday cruise yourself. And if not, then this is the proper presentation for you to get ready for next season, because if you haven't booked your holiday cruise by now, you have missed the boat, my friend, and you should be joining us for 2025 holiday cruises. So that's what we're here to talk about with you tonight. But first, let's get into who we are. So as I said, welcome this evening. We are going to be talking about the holiday cruises. For everybody who isn't familiar with our format, we are cruise specialists with Vacations for Canadians. We look after all of your cruise needs, but in addition to that, we can also help you with everything from door-to-door service. So that means we can help you out with transfers. We can help you out with pre or post-cruise hotels for accommodations. We can help you out with your transfers. And then once you're on the ship, we can help you find that right room category and the right ship and itinerary for you so that you and your loved ones that you're traveling with can enjoy yourselves on that vacation and make it the right holiday for you. And so with that being said, this week, our feature presentation is going to be all about cruising during the holidays. And so what better person to talk about that than someone who's done a lot of cruising on the holidays, our agency owner, Tina Dowd. Tina, I'm going to turn it over to you for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Matt. And this one hits home with me. I've done many seasonal holiday sailings and love them. They're a fantastic way to, get your family together for the holidays or get away from all the craziness of the holidays. Lots of different reasons, but let's get into that. So let's go ahead and get started on the presentation. Okay, and hello everyone that's commenting already. So first thing, let's talk a little bit about destinations. So you actually have a lot of options for cruising during the holidays and where you can go. So you can go to the European Christmas markets. Barry and I did that back in 2020. It was just absolutely lovely. And I think if you are interested in doing that, you might want to talk to Matt because I think he's got something up his sleeve with that one. But yeah, it is so magical. Just a wonderful time of the year to be over in Europe and to go to those Christmas markets. My picture here at the bottom, we took our family on a Bahamas cruise and we stopped at Disney over the holidays. So we were actually there on December 24th, which was pretty fantastic. So we've got the big tree in the back. I think we were in Epcot that day. Another great destination that really does it up right over the holidays would be the Australia, New Zealand, specifically Sydney. I've heard a lot of great things. I haven't been yet, but I've heard a lot of great things about going to Sydney over the holidays. Some of the other places that you could go to if you were looking for some more cultural immersion would be Asia. You could do South America. A lot of them have great weather over the holidays. And obviously the Caribbean and the Bahamas is pretty much the popular one. All right. Now, why would you, sorry, I've got something's covering my slides here and I can't read it. So why would you want to go on a holiday cruise? And Matt's going to laugh at this first picture because we actually did a big hosted cruise. And this is myself giving Matt, his daughter, a Christmas present. So it was a great family cruise for Matt. It was a great family cruise for myself. I had my kids there. Matt had his kids, his parents. It was a great time had by all. And, we got to spend some really quality time with our families over Christmas. And then the bottom one is just the picture in the middle with the girl. It's just kind of like to get away and enjoy that, nice break from the Canadian winters. Another reason would be for stress. I mean, sometimes the holidays can be stressful, especially if we've got family that, we don't care for that much. You might want to get away for the holidays. Sorry, we can't get together this year. We're going on a cruise. Okay, so that would be our whys. And also, too, like I had said, there's other locations. You don't have to do the Caribbean. You can do other locations as well. If you want to be culturally immersive, you might want to go to Japan and see how they, are what they do over the holidays. And that would be pretty neat to do. So some of the highlights of sailing over the holidays, obviously, is the decorations. You'll find that as soon as the American Thanksgiving is over, the ships decorate almost immediately, if not the night of after Thanksgiving. They've already got their Christmas stuff up. So really, that whole holiday season could be pretty much any time in December. It is very magical to sail on Christmas Day, but sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes you can just go during December and still get that same Christmas feeling. The menu. Obviously, the menu is going to be a big deal. They often bring out some pretty great things for Christmas and New Year's. You get, there's turkeys and lobsters, and they tend to up their game more on cruising during the holidays. And then we've got entertainment. So this is actually a picture that I took on the right, and it was Santa. We were on a river cruise on the Mississippi in the U.S. And Santa, this is the captain who got dressed up and came out for us, and he was our entertainment. So that was pretty fantastic. Okay, and then we don't discount New Year's. So I've done New Year's the last couple of years, and it has been a blast. I normally don't even make it to midnight when I'm at home. Usually, watch, the countdown until about 11 p.m. and then we go to bed. But on a cruise, you don't do that. And it is just, take a few friends and it's a lot of fun. So that's actually some pictures of us with our friends on the left. That's our kids in the middle. And then on the right, that's the deck party that they have. So it is just one wild party, probably the best party I've ever been at sea. Okay, and I just thought I'd throw in some fun pictures of myself on Christmas cruises. So again, on the top right, we did the Mississippi River over Christmas. There's me standing in front of those grand stairs on one of the sailings, with all the presents as the decorations. You can see in the right, we can see a Christmas tree in the back. Just giving you an idea of some of the pictures on the bottom of how they decorate some of the ships up. They're really, really gorgeous. And my presentation's quite short, but I just wanted to throw in that's my favorite picture. That was from last year. Barry looks annoyed, doesn't he? But we actually had a really good time that night. And it's fun to dress up. Like, you don't always, want to get dressed up on a cruise, but it's actually a lot of fun to get dressed up for New Year's. So I would highly recommend it. All right, I'm available for questions. The whole panel is available for questions. So ask away.
Yeah, and I will say, when we joined Tina on that holiday cruise, we actually had the family sitting around the table, and we saw the offer that was coming out from Vacations for Canadians for a hosted Christmas cruise that went over New Year's. So it was a 10-night Caribbean cruise, which was the perfect time frame that was able to hit both holidays. And not only that, but that window of time really reduced the amount of vacation days that we had to take, because you were able to incorporate 2 stat holidays or 3 stat holidays into that break. So it meant less vacation days that you were able to take off. So you could go on a longer trip without having to take as many vacation days on your work schedule. But at the same time, for us, a lot of the conversation had to do with that why that Tina was talking about with the stress-free, because we're like, if we all go on this cruise together, none of us have to host. We don't have to have that burden of having everybody at our house. We're all just going to go on this cruise together, and then none of us have to host. We're going to let the cruise line host us, and then they will look after all of that. And there was all kinds of different signature festive cocktails that they had. There was all kinds of different meals that had holiday theming to them. On Christmas Day, they did decorating Christmas cookies, and we had all kinds of art installations where you were able to make ornaments and decorations that you could have as keepsakes to bring home. So if you wanted to keep them from yourselves, fantastic. If you wanted to, you could bring them home, and they'd be very cheap gifts for people when you came back from your cruise that you could give to them and say, "Look at this beautiful thing that I made specifically with you in mind when I created it," and be able to share that experience with them, because now they know that this is something you can do on a ship over the holidays, and then it generates that interest for them as well. And then the next thing you know, they're asking more follow-up questions about your holiday cruise, and before you know it, they're booking one for the following year. The other thing that I thought about when I was listening to Tina's presentation was just about for the holidays that we're focusing obviously specifically on the sailings that happen either over Christmas or over New Year's. But like Tina said, when you hit that post American Thanksgiving, you see the ships start to decorate already, setting up the Christmas displays. So one cruise line that always jumps out to me is Disney, because with Disney, they do their holiday theming so well, not just with Christmas, but also with Halloween. But they have their Merry Time Christmas. And so, when the price can really escalate when you're going specifically over that Christmas week or that New Year's week, they have their holiday theming starting so much earlier that you can go on a holiday cruise in November and still get that element of Christmas. You're still going to see all the characters dressed up in their Christmas wardrobes, and the entertainment on the ship will be Christmas themed, and all of the Disney aspect will tie into the holidays. So it's just so nice that you can still have a holiday type cruise, but not have it in that financial constraint of the week of Christmas or the week of New Year's. So it's great that you can still be able to have those kind of experiences and not get hit in the pocketbook the same way. So I know for last week when we did our presentation, we had somebody who asked a very valid question about budgets when they were talking about their travel planning. So this would really tie into that, where if you want to have that holiday experience, but you don't want to have the same sort of hit on your budget, that would be a great way to alleviate some of the constraints of your budget if you're looking at something a little forward of that specific Christmas week or New Year's week, but still have the holiday theming in it.
Absolutely. And just one more point. Both times I took my kids on a Christmas cruise, they were in the teens. And I've never seen them so much as when we did those cruises, because at home, they go to their rooms and they hang out in their rooms and they're chatting on their phones with their friends. But when you're on a cruise, you actually get really solid family time. And Matt, you've got some same age kids, so I'm sure you had a similar experience where you actually got to see your kids.
Yeah, exactly. And because they know with these holiday cruises that there is going to be a lot of families, they gear a lot of the activities that they do on the ship to the families. They want to make sure that you get that quality time together. So whether it's scavenger hunts or, like I said, those art installations and the cookie decorating, it's stuff that you can do with your kids and have that experience together that you're going to be able to remember when you're on the ship on your sea days. And then, of course, when you're on the port, you're off together and experiencing the different ports of wherever you may be. But certainly on the ship, they gear all those activities to more family-friendly ones that you can do together, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
All right. Well, I think that brings it to me for a giveaway. And we've got some questions that have come in the chat, so we're going to do those too. So I don't know if you can tell, I'm wearing my reindeer onesie. I've got some little eyes there. So the first person to comment with one of the names of Santa's reindeer in the comments gets a lovely Vacations for Canadians money belt. And I'm going to pop up the first question, which is from Jay. He asked, do you need to bring your own New Year's Eve hats, glasses, or did lines hand them out?
So I know when we were on ours that there was some of the restaurants that handed them out. There was also staff that were on the ship that handed them out. But with that in mind, that these holiday sailings are going to be full. And there's only so many supplies. They definitely don't have enough for the full capacity of the ship. So it's all about timing and being in those locations when they're handing them out. So if you do have your own that are, packing friendly, then I would definitely suggest bringing some of your own and not relying on the cruise lines to hand them out to you.
I would agree. I'm not one to leave things to chance when we're getting dressed up like that. So I did bring all of my own New Year's decorations, for example, our hats and our crowns and everything. And the ship did have some, but the stuff that I brought was better quality anyway. So we were happy just to use our own.
Yeah, and from what I remember, like we brought our own stuff, but then once we got some that the cruise line handed out, then we just put ours away and we wore theirs because we're like, well, if it gets damaged or whatever, then I don't care because this was the stuff they gave us, and I don't have to wear my own stuff. I can repack it and bring it home with me and save it for another time.
Great. All right, and the next question is from Eleanor, and she asks, saw a solo cruise today. Any chance you'll be posting more solos? Unfortunately, the dates for the ones today, the airfare is too high. So maybe we can start with Luke because he hasn't been chatting yet with us tonight, and then we can move to Tina and Matt if they have anything else to add.
Oh. Not only do we lose Luke's audio, but he vanished into the back.
Sorry, my mute button was stuck. That's a good question. Solo cruises are, I wouldn't say they're, no. I think they're one-on-one requirement when it comes to booking a solo cruise. Because a lot of the posts we do are typically for 2 passengers and or for a family of 4. If you're looking for a solo cruise, my recommendation is just reach out to one of us and we'll definitely find you that perfect spot or that perfect ship that does cater to solos or that they have some room available at a decent price. So reach out to one of us. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Tina, Matt?
I would agree with Luke on that. That's definitely a good recommendation. As the person who is finding a lot of the deals that we're posting, I would say that most of them are close-in sailings, and if the ship has some space, then they will reduce this single supplement for solos. So, as far as what determines what we post, really, it's a matter of what we can find for deals. So, a lot of people will say to me, how come you don't post more deals with 5 people? Well, unfortunately, there really isn't very many deals with 5 people. So we're excited when we find them, when we post them. And it kind of runs the same with solos. So we're always looking for them. And, we'll definitely make a conscious effort to try and post whenever we see them. But unfortunately, they aren't as bountiful as when we get a lot of deals with 2 passengers.
Yeah, Tina hit it right on the head with the close-in sailings that we see more deals for solos, and that a lot of that is geared towards the locals. So if you live in that area and can jump on a ship, those will be geared towards those where flight costs are less of a concern, and it's more about seeing that fantastic deal last minute and being able to jump on it and be able to get into a solo one. So when we do see some of the deals that come up right now for the solo deals, we're seeing ones for January and February. We're slowly starting to see them for March, but I would always tell our solo sailors to aim your searches for the cruise lines that gear towards solo travelers, that have less of a single supplement fee on them, because while we might be posting a deal for a double occupancy, that's not to say that there isn't a good deal on that one for a solo, because they have specific category staterooms that are for solos. So we can look into those specific categories because those cruise lines cater to solo travelers and find you a good price on a solo cabin because it is designed for a solo traveler in mind. So there are some of those cruise lines, Norwegian comes to mind right away. They have like an entire solo lounge. Virgin is another great one. They have a solo sail away cocktail reception as a good icebreaker for solo travelers. Princess is another one that has reduced supplement fees for solo passengers. So those are the ones that I would start with when you're looking at our deals and you see something that jumps out to you. That's where you can take a screenshot of that deal and say, do you have anything for a good rate for a solo for this cruise? And then we can do a price comparison and see what we can find you.
Yeah, Matt, I would actually add celebrity onto that list, but you got to be quick. So when the itineraries come out, and right now we're looking at 26, 27 just came out. They've got some great solo balcony rates, but they go pretty quick. So
yeah, especially in that edge category, now that they've come out with that whole new solo category, that's a really good one.
Great. Thanks, guys. So since we're talking holiday cruises, and as Matt mentioned, we missed the boat if we're looking to go this year. If I'm looking to go next year or maybe the year after, when should I be booking my cruise? Are there rates out already for that? And let's start with Matt, since you brought up missing the boat.
Yes, pun intended. Now is the time. We already have rates for 2025. We already have rates for 2026. So those are available right on our website in our exclusive rates that you can search on our website to be able to tap into those cruise dates and see some of the exclusive rates that we have available through Vacations for Canadians. And then if you see any of those that are jumping out to you and those are ones that appeal to you, then you just got to move over a couple of tabs and the book online is right there, and you can jump on and book it right then and there. Or also on there is contact us. You just reach out to one of us. You tell us the one that you found on there through the exclusive rates, and then we will look after you and make sure that you don't miss the boat on 2025 or 2026.
You know, and everybody thinks there's never a good deal on Christmas, but I'm going to tell you that our gang is pretty darn good about finding them. So sometimes you just have to be patient. Keep an eye on our website or our Facebook group page, Facebook group, Cruise Just for Canadians. But we do find them. So they're definitely out there. But if you see them, you got to jump on them. That's the thing. If you wait, it's gone.
Yeah, and we've really found some great deals with the no perks lately. And, you know, if you take some of these cruise lines in mind that say you can bring wine on board, you can bring your pop on board, you can bring your water on board, then you can start to go with no perks and just bring the wine on board. And then with certain cruise lines, depending on the category of room that you book yourself into, then there might be other amenities. So then you can get into that. Or if you have loyalty status, say with Royal Caribbean, that you have, you know, drink tickets that are given to you, then, you know, that's something that you don't have to look into the beverage package and add all those perks. And that's where the price really starts to escalate quickly. You can still go with no perks and be able to, you know, still get through a holiday cruise on a fairly decent budget.
And for me to add a little bit to what Tina said was that lately in the last couple of weeks, I was actually shocked on some of the deals we put for Christmas, you know, and to Matt's point as well with the no perk ones. We've been posting some stuff, some cruises for, you know, just they touch Christmas at the tail end of the cruise, or you get on the ship on the 21st and get off just before New Year's Eve. And the prices were shockingly low for at least for that period of that time of the year. The other thing too is maybe while you're doing your Christmas cruise shopping, maybe you look at maybe, and if the Christmas time is a little over your budget or whatever, there's always shoulder seasons around Christmas. And what I mean by that is, you know, sometimes early December into mid to late December or before Christmas, some of the rates are actually lower. Or if you wait to January and you go the first, second week, third week of January, the prices are usually low because, you know, it's just before the busy season and so on. So there's a little bit of flexibility there. If Christmas isn't really when you want to go, there's, you know, you can kind of go around Christmas time, but not specifically Christmas. But just to finish off on this is basically look at our website, look at our cruise deals. There's definitely deals we've posted over the last week or two. We don't want to go further than that because sometimes they expire and the prices have changed or have been updated, but there's definitely some good deals there for Christmas 2025 into 2026 as well.
Awesome. And speaking of holidays, I mean, we're talking Christmas and New Year's, but people also think March break as well, and you know, around Easter time, things like that. So would the same hold true for other holidays that they need to book way out, or are you going to be able to maybe get something a little closer in for maybe March break or Easter and around those holidays? Tina, we'll start with you.
Well, you can ask. But if you're looking for March break right now, there's still space out there, but literally you're not going to be able to pick your cabin. And we're not going to be able to, you know, probably not going to be able to get you some fantastic rates like we could if you had booked a year ago. So yeah, absolutely. If you want to go, reach out. We'll definitely find you space. There is still some space out there. But it's always better just to book early. And if you're not sure, just reach out to our agents and ask. They will tell you. Their goal is to make sure that you have a great experience with us and to make sure that you have a great experience with your vacation. So they're not going to just say book now. They're going to tell you, hey, we need to wait. There's a sale coming up. Or, hey, right now is a really good time to book because of, we're losing our group space or whatever the deal may be. It's always good to ask them what they think, and they're going to be honest and tell you what to do.
Luke, do you have anything to add to that, or Matt?
Yeah, so I'd like to divide this one again into two parts. One is if you're going to cruise with, yourself and a significant other, or you're only two people to a cabin, possibly three, maybe four, and it's one cabin you're looking for, chances are, yes, we could find you a decent deal for March break of 2025. If you're looking more to travel with family, or you would like to put your kids in a different cabin, or you want connecting cabins, then my recommendation is, yes, do look, to 2026, if not 2027, to book those ahead, because then there's more flexibility, there's more availability in terms of being able to group cabins together, connecting cabins, and the availability is a lot higher. So again, just to summarize here, is if you're going to cruise with a small group of people, or just two individuals, or maybe just one cabin, yes, we can find you a deal. If you're looking for more of a family get together in terms of you needing multiple cabins, then I highly recommend booking way in advance, because then we have it's easier to find availability and making sure it fits for your needs and your family.
Yeah, and what I would say, Linda, if you want to throw that next question that you flagged on there, because that'll tie right into what I was about to say anyways, is
Okay.
that Eleanor Sutton commented earlier about the solo deal that she saw that said, that the flight was such an extreme cost. So that ties into the holiday planning, because part of that expenditure for your travel is not just the cruise itself, but how you get there and your hotel stays and everything else that has to accompany that cruise fare cost. So when looking at booking earlier, the cruise, while it's a large portion of that travel budget, is not the only thing on the travel budget. So if you can book further out, you're going to get better flight rates. You're going to get better hotel rates. You're going to get better transfer costs, and all of it adds up. And so how do you minimize all of them at the same time? You book earlier out, because then you can get a better flight rate, or at least you have the ability, if you book in a refundable fare for your flight, then if the price comes down at flight, you can get your flights repriced. If the cruise gets repriced, then you can reach out to us and we can see if it's something that we can reprice. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. It all depends on the promotions that are tied to the reservation, but it's certainly something that we can look after as your cruise specialist. And that's why you deal with an agency, because then we can help you with all that. And the earlier you book out, the more time we have to work with you and try to get you that best price and help you with all those other factors when it comes into your travel budget.
Great.
Yeah, and if I can just add now to this new question, these last minute deals are really about the cruise lines filling the last few cabins. And so if you're that person that you don't care, you're flexible as to when you go, and you don't care where your cabin is on the ship, and you don't need to be beside somebody, and you just have a ton of flexibility with what you're going to get, then the last minute deals tend to work good for those people. But most people want to be able to pick their cabin. They want to be midship. They have a specific week they want to go. They want to go in on a Saturday and come home on a Saturday, so they don't take an extra time off of work or whatnot. I mean, there's so many different benefits to booking early versus these last minute deals. So yes, there are some great last minute deals, but you're also getting what the cruise line has left. And like Matt said, flight prices tend to be higher once you start coming in to close in.
Great. Thank you, Tina. Luke, did you have anything to add before we move on?
No, I think it was pretty well covered by Matt and
Perfect. So one of the questions I'm going to ask you is, so when you're thinking about different cruise lines, how do they cater to different holiday traditions and celebrations? So, as far as like diversity and inclusion, and, everybody's a little different. Is it more of a generic celebration, or do they have, things that are specific to different traditions and celebrations? Maybe
Yeah, so they
Tina,
definitely oh, go ahead,
Matt?
Tina.
No, go ahead, Matt. You
No, I
start.
think Matt should start.
Yeah, there's definitely like a more neutral tone to some of the holiday festivities that happen. There's also, like, depending on the cruise line, there is even like a church or an area where there's religious services and stuff like that. And you will see right in the cruise agenda, if your holiday falls during that time, that any of the religious services are publicized in the cruise itineraries when you get your daily agendas, so you can see what is going on, where there are celebrations for your type of faith. So there's definitely, like, the cruise lines will go out of their way to try and be as inclusive as possible, and I think you'll see that right in their marketing, that they really try to address as much inclusivity as possible. So you will see that. I mean, obviously for the kids and stuff like that, there is going to be more in the Christmas theming of it, but not so much in with Catholicism or anything like that. It's much more watered down and just holiday festive celebrations.
Great. Tina, did you have anything to add to that?
I don't. I think Matt, bang on. Yep.
Yeah.
Luke?
And you'll notice in my background here, this is, I'm trying to swing because I got to go backwards. This was on Anthem of the Seas back in 2017, I think. And the cruise that I took was actually we got off on Christmas Eve, which was sad, but because we had to drive home on Christmas Eve. And to Matt's point, I think the decor, from what I remember, was very Christmas generic. It was more around, the Christmas balls, the lights, the wreaths and everything else. And I don't even remember any specific around religion and that kind of stuff. It was very generic to cover, to please everybody without causing any, oh, well, you preferred this religion over that one, or that kind of stuff, right? So
Makes sense. Excellent. All right. So my next question, because I don't have any in the chat, if you do have questions and you're listening in, it doesn't have to be about holiday cruising. It can really be about anything. So please feel free to drop your questions in there. So my next question is, can you share any insider tips on booking a holiday cruise to ensure a festive and memorable experience for travelers? So while I'm sure the cruise itself at Christmas will be festive and memorable, any tips for just taking it up that one little notch?
I'm just going to pipe in here, and I would say manage expectations, especially if you're traveling with extended family. You really, and I would say this probably with any cruise, especially when you're traveling with a group of friends or families, to plan when you're going to spend time together and when you're not going to spend time together. So for us, it's everybody makes it to dinner every night, and that's our thing, right? I mean, and I think a lot of families do that. But you don't want to go overboard with having everybody together all the time, because the beauty of a cruise is they cater to everybody. So there's so much for everybody to do. And what has been successful with my family when we travel with others is that everybody does their own thing and we meet up for dinner every night. So that's our way of enjoying our cruises together.
Yeah, I agree with Tina. I think when you cruise with family and friends, it's important to, kind of schedule those little things that you want to do together and enjoy to build those memories. But also you have to give each of the families time to do their own thing. Because I know personally I do things differently with Vicky and I when we're around friends and family versus we also want to enjoy our Christmas cruise the way we normally would do it with our own kids. So it's important to kind of separate the two, so that there isn't some conflict, or and there's more personal time in there too.
Okay, I have a very, very good insider tip, and I share this with anybody when they talk about holiday cruising. And so, people who are watching and the people who are going to watch this when we record this, if ever you are going to go on a Christmas holiday cruise and you are traveling with family, especially the younger ones, this is an insider tip to take to the bank. Do not wrap your gifts in advance. Do not wrap your gifts in advance. If you put wrapped presents into your suitcase and then put them through a baggage scanner,
Oh no.
they will be pulled aside, and all of your wrapped gifts that you have taken so much precious time to wrap will be quickly ripped apart by the airport security. So bring wrapping paper, bring whatever tags, tape, whatever the wrapping necessities that you require. Gift bags are your friends. Tissue paper is your friends because they are flat and can pack very easily and are lightweight and make for quick wrapping when you are on a cruise ship and want to be enjoying your holidays. Whereas if you have to get into your stateroom, send the kids off to go play somewhere on the ship, and then wrap presents for a day, you are much better off with gift bags and tissue paper so that you can make light work of all of your Christmas wrapping so that you can still enjoy the holidays on the ship with your family, but still have that magical Christmas morning. That's my insider tip for you.
Matt, I feel like you're speaking from experience.
I think Sandy wants to tell us something.
Oh, and if I could even throw in a little bit more, I would say that distribute your gifts evenly between your carry-on and your suitcases, because your luggage might not actually arrive when you get to Florida or wherever your cruise may be taking off from, as what happened with my own parents when we went on our holiday cruise and their luggage never arrived. And with that, all of the gifts that were in there.
And I see that a helpful tip from your mom says pack air tags.
Yes, because when you go on your Caribbean cruise and you are hopping from island to island to island, your luggage is trying to keep up with you, hopping from island to island to island, and ended up being one island behind us on our entire holiday cruise. So every time we moved to another island, the luggage would make it to the island we were at before. So I mean, the air tags would have been great, but all we would have been able to do is watch as they followed us one island behind and then try to make their way back to Canada after never finding us on the cruise. And this is funny because my mother is like one floor above me watching Emmy. So she's actually in the house commenting this while watching our cruise chat. Thanks, Mom.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so my last question is, what are some of the most popular holiday cruise destination and what makes them stand out during the festive season? I know Tina covered some of them, but from your own personal experience, I'll go to Luke and to Matt and kind of get your feel for what you feel are great holiday cruise destinations and why. Luke?
That is a good question. And I'm not sure I have the answer to that, other than possibly cruising the 2 weeks prior to Christmas. I think most of the islands I went to, whether it was Barbados, St. Kitts, Antigua, they all did their little own Christmas decoration in terms of, Christmas lights and Christmas trees and that kind of stuff. But to be honest with you, I haven't cruised during the Christmas period, so it's kind of hard to say what they do and if they do anything special or there's a specific island that does it better than others. Just from experience, I think it was just, I noticed that most islands did do something about Christmas because it is around the world and everybody celebrates Christmas, for at least that's how I understand it. And yeah, that's about all I can say, really.
Matt?
All right. So with this one, I'm going to be a little bit selfish because, as Tina alluded to earlier, that I might have something hidden up my sleeve. I have a hosted river cruise going down the Danube River to go through, starting in Budapest, Hungary, sailing through Austria, sailing through Germany into some of the most amazing and magical Christmas markets that you will ever lay your eyes on. And if you want to talk about not only getting into the festive spirit, but also when Tina was talking about different delicacies with going to different countries and being able to experience a different element of Christmas, the Christmas markets is perfect example of being able to try different foods, being able to try, mulled wine, and being able to experience all of that through the different markets and see the difference between how, like, I'll use our itinerary for an example, the difference between how Hungary does it and then how Austria does it. And then some of the excursions that they have included on our cruise take you to Bratislava in Slovakia. You get to go to Prague in the Czech Republic. So there are so many different options available because all of these countries are so close that they're close enough that an excursion can actually take you there and be able to experience that. So having that kind of opportunity to celebrate the holidays somewhere else and see just how rich of a history there is there, and just not only that, but experience that Christmas wonderment. It's certainly an experience that you can take away a lot more from than the traditional Christmas that we might see on more of the ocean liners and things like that.
Yeah, and I will just add to that that's probably my all-time favorite holiday sailing that I've ever done was the European Christmas markets. It really is magical. And I love blue vine. It's just, so yummy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got to experience that in Ukraine as well. And I mean, it was my first time having experienced it. And I was really unsure of what I was going to make of this. And then right after the first one, it was unbelievable. And I mean, during that time in Ukraine, like there was displays everywhere because the Ukrainian Christmas is in January. And so, being able to have Christmas at home. And then I went to Ukraine and got to have Christmas all over again because of the Ukrainian Orthodox holidays are later. We got to do it all over again and have that mulled wine and all that, holidays, and see it from, a totally different perspective. It was really something.
Awesome. So we have another question. So Catherine says, I've heard that foodie cruises, where there are lots of cooking demos, etc., are more expensive. I've never really looked, as I mostly cruise an inside room on Norwegian. Is there ever deals on the more focused foodie cruises? So
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a stab at this. Maybe Luke and Matt know more. I'm not sure, but I don't know that I've ever seen a main ocean liner cruise line do a foodie cruise. Am I wrong? Maybe you guys know something I don't. I mostly see cruises that are, we see wine cruises and we see food cruises, but they're mostly tailored towards our luxury cruise lines. Maybe there could be some cooking demonstrations on any cruise line, really. But I think something that's really geared towards a foodie would probably be more of a luxury cruise line. And of course, like, we definitely are always looking for deals on luxury cruise lines as well. Like, that's, we're across the board looking to try and get you guys good value for your money. So it is going to be a different kind of a cruise.
So what I will say is Virgin has a lot of food demonstrations, and literally one of the happenings cast. So they don't have a cruise director. They have a happenings cast, which is 12 staff members who work equally and share the entertainment that goes on the ship. Well, one of them is literally named the foodie, and he does all of the cooking demonstrations. He also does classes on coffee. They will do classes specifically on mixology. But there is a lot of food demonstrations. And in addition to that, while it is definitely a niche market that enjoy it, there is also Test Kitchen, which is literally geared to foodies because they will just take select ingredients and then focus their dishes on those select ingredients. Now, is it for everybody? Absolutely not. But for those who are foodies, there is something very unique because you literally sit at the preparation stations and watch them make this, and you can interact with the chefs while they're making it, and they tell you the inspiration behind some of the dishes and everything like that. And then there are drink pairings to go with it. So you can definitely have a foodie experience on a lower budget itinerary or cruise, and when you're talking about staying in an interior room, you can stay in an interior room and all of those experiences are open to every guest on the ship. It's not based on any kind of category or any kind of price point. You can have the same experiences that anyone that stayed in a suite.
Amazing.
Mhm.
So you can have a foodie experience on those ships with
That's a good one, Matt. Completely forgot about Virgin.
Yeah, they have like there's a
dining as well. So I mean, it's just a
they have a class that's called Create It and Click It. So you basically make the dish, and then it's all about your Instagram afterwards because you take photos of all your foods to show everything that you've made. There's one that's like they have clever names, but there's one for chocolate. So it's basically just everything is all around chocolate, but it's making different kinds of desserts. Then there's one that's all about different coffees, because especially when you're going to some of these Caribbean itineraries, then everybody has the best coffee bean. So they will do coffee classes that are focused on the itinerary that you're on, and they will feature some of the different coffee blends from some of those islands. And so all of those are very unique classes that you can participate in, and they cost you very little. And, depending on the ship and sail date, then there might be promotions where some of that can be looked after with onboard credit.
Catherine, I think I see a Virgin cruise in your future.
and we do have some really amazing rates on Virgin that we can't necessarily post everywhere. So if that is something that interests you, you should definitely reach out to our travel advisors, because we have some sort of like secret rates almost.
One thing I'd like to add to all of that's been said is if you're anything like me, that I like to cook and I'm limited to, a 4-burner stove and an oven and a microwave and an air fryer and all the little gadgets that you have in your own kitchen, doing a galley tour can really give you a perspective of what goes on behind the scenes. Even as a foodie that you might enjoy restaurants and, specific foods like Matt and Tina said, taking a galley tour really gives you a perspective of what goes on behind the scenes. Where the last ship I was on, I decided to take it. It was only $25. They give you a tour. It's about an hour and a half, included lunch. Example, they make their own breads and muffins and not muffins, but breads and buns and the croissants every single day. And to give you an example, they basically use like 600 pounds of flour a day just to make just the bread that they serve everywhere on the ship. So it's not necessarily a foodie cruise, but at least it gives you a view of what goes on behind the scenes. And those tours are they usually leave you with some pretty cool understanding of what goes on.
Yeah, and one more example when we're talking about contemporary or premium lines before we get into the luxury side of it, where obviously there is a lot more examples available, but some of the cruise lines have chef's tables. And that's a great example where you can really tap into that foodie side if you're looking for that type of experience, because you can literally be at the table with the chef while they walk you through every single dish. And again, you have those drink pairings that can go with it. So you really get a full experience, because they're going to draw your attention to what kind of taste that you're looking for when you try the different dishes, and how they locally source a lot of the ingredients based on where you're at when you're going on these cruises. The dishes that they prepare for those chef's tables are going to be based on locally sourced ingredients. So you can really get a lot of education in that one dining experience. So that's something that you can just add on to your cruise. If you're sailing with one of those lines that offers that kind of specialty dining experience, I would highly recommend looking into something like that. And that would be another great example where, you could have that kind of foodie experience.
So some great examples of how to have a foodie experience on a more contemporary cruise line and get a taste of place while you're traveling across the world. depending on where you're headed. And so I think for questions, I don't see any more in the comments. If you have any questions left before we wrap up, please put them in there. And I'm going to hand it back to Tina just to wrap things up. And if we get a last minute question, we can pop back to those.
Actually, I'm going to hand it over to Matt because he's our host.
I'm sorry, Matt. Back to you.
That's okay. I know the wardrobe can be a little disrupting, so it's hard. It's hard to take me serious as the host when I'm dressed like this. But you only get it for one night, and then we put it away until next year. But no, as always, it's great to be able to take this time to offer our experiences and be able to focus on some of these different topics that we present, and to be able to answer any of your questions, whether it's relating to that topic or just anything travel generic that you might want to address with us. Of course, it's going to be nice that we're all going to be able to take a break now. As you can see, our next cruise chat is going to be January 8th. So we'll be taking the next 2 weeks off to be with our loved ones and enjoy this holiday season. And I hope you do the same as well. But make sure to follow our page. We'll still be listing a lot of deals. And of course, we'll be listing what our next topic is when we rejoin you in the new year. As always, if you need to contact us about holiday cruises or any of your cruises in general, you can see the agency number there, or you can reach out to sales. If you don't have a cruise specialist that you're working with already, you can just reach out to sales and they will forward your inquiries to one of us, and we'll be able to reach out to you and address any concerns or booking requirements that you may have. As I mentioned at the top, again, for all of our discounted rates, for all of our travel information and the services that we provide, you can find all of those on our website at vacationsforcanadians.com, especially those discounted exclusive rates and our book online feature that we now have available for you. With that being said, I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. And we look forward to seeing all of you in 2025.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays from my family to all of yours.
Thanks, everyone, and good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.